Hi friends, today I'm going to teach you how to embroider these DIY ornaments. Let's start with the candy cane. You can get all of these DIY kits on our website now. You're going to start with the white piece of yarn. You're going to thread the white piece of yarn through the needle that you get in your DIY kit. At the opposite end of the piece of yarn, you're going to make a knot. I like to loop it through 3 times, and that's going to create a little bit of a bigger knot so it doesn't slip through your fabric. You're going to start at the bottom of the candy cane. Pull your needle up through and pull the yarn all the way up until the knot hits the back of your fabric. Then about a centimeter later, you're going to go back down with your needle and pull it taut but not too tight. Then go up a centimeter later with your needle, pull up, again not too tight, and then go back down through the same hole as your last stitch. So the top of the last stitch, you're going to go down through that same exact hole. And this is called Backstitch. I have a full tutorial on my site, on my YouTube, showing you how to do Backstitch, but here it is as well. So you're just going to repeat these steps, go up about a centimeter, and then back down through that same hole, the top of your last stitch. Go up about a centimeter later, go back down through the top of your your last stitch. And just repeat this process for the entire candy cane. Whenever it goes to the curve, I like to do those stitches a little bit smaller, but they can be about the same size. And you don't want to pull it too tight, because we're going to have some space, because this is going to be a whipped back stitch. So this is the back stitch part. And then with the red, we're going to do the whipped part, and I'll show you that in a minute. So we're almost done with our candy cane for the white part. Follow the blue line that I drew on your DIY kit. And once you're finished that, turn it to the back and you're going to make a double knot. So you loop through one of the stitches on the back and make one knot, then loop through again the same stitch and make another knot. Then I just like to thread it through some of the stitches in the back to make it a little bit neater, and then cut off any of your extra yarn. And that's the first step. And it should look something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your stitches don't have to be the exact same length. Your stitches don't have to be perfect, so don't worry if it's not perfect. Just try to keep them kind of similar. So now we're going to take the red yarn, loop it through 1 time, loop it through 2 times, loop it through 1 more time, and that creates that triple knot that I like to have at the end of my yarn. And you're going to start at the bottom of the candy cane again, and this is the whipped part of our back stitch. So this is called a whipped back stitch. You pull it up, the knot is on the back of the fabric, and then you're going to go through the loop. So in between the loop and the fabric, you're not going through the fabric, you're just going through behind the yarn. So you start at the right side of each of those stitches, and you go in between the yarn and the fabric. So right in between that yarn and the fabric, and you're going to go the whole way. So you're not seeing any of the red yarn really at the back at all throughout your candy cane, because all of this is just at the front of your fabric. And you want to pull it taut, but again, don't pull it too tight. And this is also why you needed to create like a little bit of space between these stitches. You don't want to pull it too tight, because we need to get our needle in between there. And this is creating our candy cane striped effect. So go the whole way through each one of these stitches, and then take your needle through the last hole of the last stitch and pull it towards the back. And you're done your candy cane. Now you just need to tie it off on the back. So I like to go around the white stitch on the back and then Again, do a double knot. Thread it through some of the stitching on the back. And then cut off your extra. And that is your candy cane. Super cute and a super easy DIY ornament. And again, you can find this kit on our website and it's only $6. This is such a great little fun project to do. And also it's a adorable heirloom ornament that you can keep forever and add to your ornament collection. So on to the snowflake, you're going to thread your needle and you'll get one long piece of blue yarn. You don't have to use it as one piece. You could use it as 2 pieces if you would like. You're going to make a triple knot at the end of your yarn. Then you're going to go through the bottom of the last spoke on your snowflake and you're going to pull the knot all the way to the back of the fabric. And then we're going to do a back stitch. So you go down with your needle and then come up about 1 centimeter later. Then go back down the top of the last stitch. Then come up about 1 centimeter later. And go back down the top of the last stitch. And we're going to give each spoke 4 back stitches. So now I'm in the middle of my snowflake. And then go back down the top of the last stitch. And now I have 4 stitches, and here's my middle. So I have 4 stitches on each spoke. So now I'm going to do the top middle spoke. So here's 1 stitch. And again, this is a back stitch, and I do have a tutorial for that on my YouTube channel. That's 2 stitches. 3 back stitches and 4 back stitches. Then you're going to go back to the middle and you're going to pick the next spoke to do. I'm going to do this one to the top right. And again, each spoke is going to get 4 back stitches. So you're going to go down about 1 centimeter later and then come back up 1 centimeter later. Then go back down the top of the last stitch. Then repeat this. So that was 2 stitches. Three stitches. And 4 stitches. Then go back to the middle again and pick another spoke to do. Again, it really doesn't matter what order you do the spokes, but go back to the middle each time and give each spoke the same amount of stitches. So sometimes I did 3 stitches on them. That's fine too. You don't have to do 4 stitches. But for this particular one, I'm doing 4 stitches for each spoke. We just want to keep them the same length, and you want to keep your stitches about the same size. So back to the middle, and now I'm working on this spoke. Go down through the hole of the top of the last stitch, back up 1 centimeter later, down, and then this is the 4th spoke. You want to make sure you don't get it too tight because you don't want to have like a hole in your fabric. So you want to pull them all taut but not too tight. And then you're going to go back to the middle and do this last spoke. And if you got this DIY kit on my website, then all of it will be drawn on there for you with a water erasable marker. So you kind of just follow the lines. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly on the line. It doesn't have to be exactly the same length. And if you haven't embroidered before, this is just such a great beginner-friendly, fun project to do. So see, some of my stitches are not perfect, but that's okay. And again, it's a snowflake. They're all different. They're all special. They're all unique. So now we're gonna make the little outside pieces of the spokes. So it doesn't really matter where you start, but start kind of close as you can to where you just ended. And then you're gonna make this V-type shape. on each of your spokes. So again, you can follow the lines that I drew with a water erasable pen if you got this kit from our website. So you're going to go back down in between, so after the 2 stitches, so I'm leaving 2 stitches up top and 2 stitches towards the center, and each one I'm going up the same place and down the same place. So go down where there's 2 stitches and go back up, go down where there's 2 stitches. So I'm going right in between those stitches. Again, trying to make each one of these about the same length. And that is all of our outside parts of the snowflake. And you can leave it like this. Honestly, this is really cute. But I'm going to do the inside ones as well. But this is already really cute. And now I'm going to do these little inside ones. And I'm actually going to have these ones touching. So start there and then go in between the stitches. So there should be like 3 stitches on top of it and 1 stitch towards the center, if that makes sense. So 3 stitches are outside of it and 1 stitch is on the inner part. And again, you're just making this like V motion with your stitches. All right, and whenever you pull it through your last stitch, you're going to tie the back in a double knot. So you're going to pull your needle through one of the stitches on the back. Sorry, I kind of went out of camera for that. But then you're going to make a double knot. There we go. So double knot like that, and then you're just going to cut off any extra of the yarn. So this is how it looks. Then you're going to get your water and you're going to spray it so that way it erases the water erasable marker. And it looks like this. So far I completed the candy cane and the snowflake, and next I'm going to do the evergreen tree. So for the tree, you're going to start with your green yarn, and then you also need your brown yarn for the tree trunk. So you're going to get your green yarn and you're going to go ahead and thread it through your needle. Then you're going to make a triple knot at the end of your yarn. So you loop it through once, loop it through twice, loop it through 3 times, and then pull tight. And you're going to start at the top of your tree and create the first pine needle. So bring your yarn all the way up and then down to make the first pine needle. So down about 1 centimeter later on the part that I drew for you in your DIY kit. Then you're going to go to the bottom of the other pine needle next to it and go back to the top. So back where you started. Pull taut, then you're going to go to the bottom of the next pine needle and go back to the top. And you can just leave it at these 3 pine needles, but I like to do some more needles in between it. This already looks nice, but I just like to make my tree a little bit fuller. So if you want, you can do stitches in between each one of those. So a stitch there and a stitch right here. Each time going back to the top where you started. And that's the first row. And now we're going to go to the next row. So you're going to go to the top. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. I'm starting with the middle, but it really doesn't matter which pine needle you start with. And again, you can make yours less full than this. You can make it more full. But I start by doing each one of those little blue marks that I drew on there for you guys. And then after that, you can do like in between those blue marks. So you just make a stitch on each one of those blue marks. And they don't have to be the exact same length, but try to keep them a similar length. There's like a gap over here, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in some more stitches and go fill in that gap over there. Again, it's totally fine if it has gaps, and I think that looks cute too. It's just a different look, and I just like mine to be fuller. So one more stitch over here. Actually going to do one stitch after that, so there's no gaps. And then now I'm done with the second row of my pine tree. And we're going to go to the third row. So I'm starting to the right side this time. Like I said, it really doesn't matter where you start. I'm going to do each one of these blue lines. And I'm going to show you what it looks like if I didn't fill in the gaps, because it still looks cute. And if you did this for the whole tree, then it gives it a really cute look. So here's what it would look like if you just left the gaps there. And if you do that for each one of those lines, it really does look cute. But I'm going to go ahead again and fill in between each one of those pine needles. You also don't have to leave this white space in between, like for each one of those sections of the tree. But again, I think that looks good. If you want to have your stitches closer together and not have a white line in between each section, you can do that too. I just think it looks good like this. And here's the last section. Again, they don't have to be the exact same length, but you can make them similar. And there's the bottom level of my pine tree. You just want to make sure that the left side is the same distance away from the wooden ring as the right side is. So I'm giving it one more stitch to the left, just to even it out a little bit. So that looks pretty even. So now I'm going to go ahead and tie off the back. Here's how it looks. So you flip it over, you put your needle through one of the stitches. Sorry, I got off camera here. And then you create a double knot. So you just one knot, put your needle through one of the stitches and do 2 knots. Like I said, it's really just a double knot, and then I loop my yarn through, and then I cut off the extra. So now we're going to do the trunk. So you thread your needle, you make your triple knot, 1, 2, 3, hold tight, go through the bottom left side of the trunk, and you're going to make 3 stitches. So here's my first stitch, just like that. Here's my second stitch, and here's my third stitch. And it's that simple. And then here's my double knot that you can actually see this time. So you thread it through one of your stitches on the back and go through once, then go through twice. And that's a double knot. Then you're going to thread your yarn through some of the stitches on the back just to make it neat. You don't have to do this step, but it just makes it look neater. Then cut off any extra yarn. And that is your Christmas tree. And now I'm going to add a star to the top. So your kit should have come with a little gold star like this. And then you're going to take some hot glue. You can take other glue if you want, like super glue, but I'm going to do hot glue. And you take a little tiny dot of hot glue and let it dry for a second, like couple seconds. And then once it's dry a little bit, you're going to place your gold star on top. You're going to spray it with water to erase that water erasable marker and set it. And here's how it looks. So cute and such a perfect heirloom ornament. I hope you love these DIY ornaments, and thank you so much if you ordered them from our shop.